Hello, people. We are back. Hopefully, the audio works. What's up, children? Hopefully, the audio works. Carly Vegas has had to do everything on his computer, download something, because his phone isn't built for this, and my computer's not really built for. I can't go live on YouTube, and because I don't have the program for it, it says every time I try and go live, it says no, I can't go live. But my man's here. Hopefully the audio works. Thank you for the people that have joined so far. All right, here we go. Let's try. I'm a little bit nervous. Hopefully it works. Yeah.
Good.
How you going? Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, I can hear you okay. It's the Stone Age. I didn't realize it's the Stone Age, but
Man, that's why I do it. I do it at home on my phone. I haven't got no technology, man. Like the only technology I've got is the air bubbles in our shoes. You know what I mean? Like,
now that's
yeah,
cool.
how you doing?
You know what? I didn't notice until like a few minutes ago. I Googled. You and I were talking. I found it's called an emulator. And
Yeah.
now you put it on your desktop, and it acts as a Google Android app. So that's how I'm talking to you here.
Man,
it acts
everyone,
as an Android.
everyone, this is Carly Vegas.
Hey, everyone.
You know what I mean?
I know.
Yeah, man. First of all, I want to say I know you've knocked back many shows and stuff, and I just want to say thank you for being on my show. We've known each other on Instagram for quite a while now, and I just want to say thank you as well for the kind gesture of saying that you're going to send me a pair of Young Line shoes as well. That's like I'm still grateful for. I can't believe it. And thank you for being on the show. And if you want to tell everyone who you are and what your passion is for the tennis shoes and other sneakers.
No problem at all. But thanks for having me. You're right. We do go back in terms of the passion for tennis and just talking. So I appreciate you because it's early in the morning there. What is it, 10 o'clock or something?
It's 9:26.
Yeah. So, yeah, I appreciate you for getting up. For me, this is the evening, so I would be up around this time. But I'm really just a hoarder of tennis shoes. I think that best describes me, right? I've kept a lot of my shoes. I was the original purchaser, and I probably have over 700 pair. Most I've had since mid 80s, 90s, and I've gotten some along the way, some of the ones that I've been searching for. But through that, a lot of companies reach out to me.
Yeah.
I'll ask Sergio and others, you know, a lot of times once the retro movement started, a lot of companies start reaching out to me. What's going on, Dazzler's Finest? Some I know by tag names, which is funny. I've known these, or I've been followers of a lot of these people. Retro Talk, I see.
Yeah. Shouts to the boys from Retro Talk.
Yeah, so many years, and I know people by tag names. So if you ever committed a crime, you're going to be safe because I know no government names to people. I just know tag names. But good to see those I know. Lauren, I know, though. Lauren, I know her government name. So, hey, Lauren. So with that said, I get the opportunity sometimes to talk to a lot of companies around strategy. And recently I got the chance to work with a partner of mine, Will, to design a shoe for LS.
Yes.
Hey, I know Barbara too. See, I know some government names. She cooks. She's the best chef in Atlanta, right there. So she may be. Are you in Australia, Barbara? Let me ask. She was just over there. I don't know if she is. Frankie 77, I know. So I know a lot of these people.
Yeah. Frankie, I've known. He's old school. He's an old school writer from back in the days there.
No face, no case. True. So yeah, so I'm happy to get the opportunity to talk because you and I always talk about old tennis shoes, old
Yes.
sneakers, old brands, Euro brands. So I thought I'd take the opportunity to share some of those tennis shoes and talk about them today. We said we were going to do 10, but it's always hard. It's like Lay's potato chips. I always grab more than one. Oh, she's back home. I know she was in Australia, but she's back home now. A Tribe Called Jazz, I think, is one of the coolest tag names. I remember that tag name for so many years. I think that's like the coolest tag name. So yeah, we said we would talk about 10, but that stretched some. But you know, one of the difficulties with the virus Borg Elite signature that we're experiencing now, that Sergio today had sent out notification that they had to shut down on some of the operations, like so
Yeah,
the young
yeah, I've seen that.
Hey, I got a pair yesterday. I'll show you the pair. What we're talking about, the Young Line tennis shoe. I sent them the OG model. So this is probably almost close to spec from
Yeah.
1985. They really came so super close. Liz, shout out to Liz and Zeno, those guys.
So that's the remake. That's not your original one.
Right? This is the remake, but they have me in the trifold. I mentioned in the trifold along with the
grouse.
But it's
Awesome.
very close, though. It's super close. So when that comes, when they finally get a production, I sent the pair your way. But that's a super close shoe. I know it's up on their website now, and it's only like $110. But it amazes me sometimes. Yeah, that sometimes because it's less hype, some of the best retros they stay on the shelf a little longer, like the Adidas rivalry. But
I reckon they're sick, the rivalries.
Yeah, that Young Line is tough. This is one of the toughest shoes I've seen. So that's a tough shoe right there. So that one I like. And again, I sent one your way, but now they just announced the news because of the outbreak of the virus or potential outbreak that a lot of the European operation is shut down for now. So
yeah.
Doing a lot of shipping. So
have you got now recently? You done the shoe with the less?
I did the shoe with a Les. I have it real quick. I'll share it for those who hadn't seen it, but then I'll get into the other shoes. But the one I did with a Les, and I talked to a Les this past weekend, my partner and I, so we are going to get a full collab on
awesome.
It's going to happen. Let me put the string in. I don't know where to hold the camera sometime, but that's just
it's
tanker
perfect.
We had a chance to do. And, I mean, again, Soul on Canvas is the other side to the business, my business partner. But, you know, I thought this shoe was personally well done. They really put premium products to the shoe. So that's one of my favorites now, right? But that's the Tanker, 1982 Mark Sadler shoe, one of the first cross-functional shoes I ever owned. I got the pair in 82. I have the OG pair. And it was so great because it was really a cross-functional shoe.
Yeah.
But tennis was the love. So the first sport I really fell in love with was tennis. So a lot of the shoes and a lot of the apparel I brought just because I really wanted to be a tennis player. You know?
Yeah, that's the thing I've noticed about you. You've got the shirts and stuff to match a lot of the shoes, like the Sampras, the Becker.
That was huge, right? That was huge to have the matching apparel with the shoes. A lot of times you did it out of a uniqueness because you kind of wanted to be unique. At that time, you know, if you think 80s, you wanted to set yourself apart. And you knew most times the shoes, the Euro brands were $100. So most people could get the shoes, but then money would be a little tight. They wasn't going to
get the other stuff.
Full apparel outfit because some of the sweatsuits were $300. So if you could get the whole outfits, then you were deemed official. You know, you were going to be unique amongst your peers. So I used to try to get the entire outfit from top to bottom, socks included. So, yeah.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, so that was one of the things. I see Premium Pete. So Pete's been around a long time. I've gotten to follow. So he has a killer podcast as well.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, so.
So what else have you brought for us today?
So, again, you and I, when we talked, we said we focus on 10 tennis shoes. Of course, that number grew. So I think I may have 14. But I think they're all important because each one kind of created another one in a sense. So I'll start with one of my earliest pairs. It's still functional, actually. And this is Ken Rosewall. This is 1976, by the way.
Wow.
So it looks bulky. Strange thing, you can't see with the lighting, but the shoe itself turned cream over the years.
It does look a bit cream.
It turned cream. It was white. And so Kim Rosewall, you know, tennis champion, one of the older grand champions. But this shoe, Sears and Tom McCann, like early on, and shout out to Pete again, Premium Pete. You got to catch his podcast. I'm telling you.
Okay.
He's a guy who grinded it out just like you started and moved through, and now he gets incredible people to come sit down. Ion 1978, another cat with a lot of incredible shoes. He had a pony running shoe on today. He and I talked. quite a
My
bit.
man Marine there, he's got a lot of great shoes, shoe knowledge there.
Cool.
Yeah.
So the thing with Sears and my connection with Sears, I had a uncle, Arthur, and he was the manager at Kenny's. So where I wanted to get Nikes, I typically got Jocks, Tom McCann, because he was my official plug, but he was plugless because he couldn't give me any shoes I wanted, but he had the right price point that my parents loved, right?
Yeah.
I used to get shoes like these, and they've lasted forever. To give credit, this shoe has literally lasted forever, and it'll be here once I'm gone. I'm going to will this shoe to family members because this will be here. But Sears and Tom McCann made a lot of the early signature shoes, like Boston Celtics, John Havlicek, Dave Cowens, Ken Roswell in tennis. Sears and Tom McCann had a lot of the early signature shoes. You know, that company was pretty big, connected with the NBA and tennis players. So a lot of the very early 70s, mid 70s, they're probably going to come from Sears. And a lot of the rubber, like even on the shoe, it's Firestone or Goodyear. It's like a lot of the tire manufacturers did a lot of the early rubber. So
oh, really?
Yeah, that's why they probably last. Like quite a bit of them tried attempted shoes too. Like Uniroyal had a shoe in 1979. Goodyear, they did some collaboration with Adidas, maybe 2006, where they did the bottoms. But a lot of those companies early on tried their hand at tennis shoes too, because the market was kind of wide open, diversity-wise. So that one wasn't one of my 10, but I just wanted to show you.
Yeah. I've seen you show that shoe before, actually.
Yeah, so I typically, like I said, I don't really wear this one, but it's kind of fascinating because a lot of the early shoes I got came from Sears, and I hated them. Now looking back, it's kind of like, all right, it's kind of cool to have as a nostalgia
That was
thing.
good, yeah.
Yeah, but growing up, to have those shoes, you really didn't want them. And Nike, to me, I didn't understand the value of $1 because I was younger. I wasn't paying for my selections, but I just thought $30 was affordable as tennis shoes. My parents thought otherwise, so 15, 20 bucks is what I got, right? So I'll get into some of the others I have, the tennis shoes. And I'm going to start. Theodora is probably one that I'm a huge fan of, right?
Yeah.
And this is the Duraltech. So this is Duraltech 670 is this shoe. And this is a later model. This isn't one of the early 80 models. And apologies for the lighting. The lighting's not the best.
No, that's all good. It's pretty clear.
Okay. All right. So the thing about these a lot of times, and a lot of the early tennis shoes, was that they were built, performance-wise. Because a lot of time you're spending then, if you brought a shoe, you probably brought it for that particular sport, right? You had gym shoes, but if you had a basketball shoe, and especially if your parents brought them, you were going to wear that basketball shoe. You had to prove to your mom one thing. If she spent the money,
you gotta use it.
Right, and you better be good, or she may take them back. I don't know. So with the tennis shoes, with this one, what was interesting, with the Duraltech bottom, which Theodora had created and crafted, they used to give you a 6-month guarantee on the sole. Like you could wear this shoe for 6 months, and if it wore down or wore out, you could take it back and get a totally new shoe or refund.
Far out.
Yeah, no company would do that now. Most shoes are lifestyle, but I thought that was pretty fascinating that they used to guarantee the shoe. And Theodora is one we always looked after or looked for because of this cat, right? Anything Borg related. These are shoes. Yeah, and these I'm not typically a fan of Velcro. Todd, Net, I see. I'm not a Velcro fan per se, but beyond Borg, I am. That's my ultimate player, right?
Yeah. I love Velcro on shoes.
This is 1984.
Man.
This is Coliseum. And
how much did that cost you?
84, I think maybe around $94.
Yeah.
Was the price cost. So it was close because back then, I think Borg was kind of the first guy who really, in terms of sponsorship, he grew the sport. Just like Tiger Woods brought the money into golf, Borg brought the money into tennis. I mean, I think 78, 79, when he stepped out on the court, he was probably $200,000, $300,000 in terms of signature, contracts he had, even down to the socks. So even with the socks, he used to have a contract depending on the country or tournament. That's why you sometimes see him in the Fila socks, or sometimes you see him in the BJ.
Okay.
They were so savvy as a business guy. I don't know if that was him or more his team, but as a business guy, His
They're
people were
amazing.
savvy, so they had contracts down to the socks. And Borg, you know what shoe he started in? Do you know what his
No.
shoe for Dior? It was Triton. It was actually Triton was like his first sponsorship. This is probably 85. This is the XTL. So this wasn't a great tennis shoe on court for me, but a lot of preppy cats, you know, around the mid 80s, a lot of people start wearing Chris, I see. So hey Chris, Neely, I know. I think you're out of Boston, right? So, but the Triton is a shoe that was popular because a lot of people started wearing more lifestyle, even though lifestyle wasn't a category. A lot of cats started getting to a preppy look. So this is a shoe that became big, and a lot of cats started wearing. This was all leather.
That looks awesome.
Like all leather. But before Borg signed with Dior, Borg wore a Triton. So I don't know what happened there, but think of how that could have changed in terms of trajectory if they had signed him, because he hadn't just started breaking out then. You know, with Dior, obviously he had success, crazy success, and so if he would have had it then, that would have been crazy. Show the toe. It's a real narrow style toe. It looks a lot like Triton hasn't changed the silhouette a lot. I know they did stuff with Andre 3000, and
did they?
Yeah, they did recently. They did some stuff with him maybe a couple years ago. I guess it looked okay. Triton has had probably the same silhouette since the 80s.
Yeah.
It's been the same shoe kind of, but this was my favorite XTL because this
That
was the
great.
all leather model. Most had
I've never heard of it before.
Yeah, like a lot of women wore it too. It was a big unisex shoe, but maybe 85, 86, a huge shoe. Triton was huge. And they had a little surge, again, a couple years ago, I think, with Andre 3000 or something, did a collaboration. I'm not big on the collaboration, you know, those that we did, because it's the same silhouette. That's no knock to him, but I'm just not as big of a fan as that silhouette as I once was in terms of that.
Yeah.
But that again was huge. And again, this is before lifestyle came across, you know, a lifestyle as a category. So that one was big because for a summer shoe, a lot of people wore it just preppy with plaid shorts, you know, the Izod or the polo shirt. Wear the Triton shoe. So that's that one there. This one I like a lot. And this one is Lecoq Sportive, of course. This is Arthur Ashe. And this one is, it's French, so I've read it incorrectly, like I do with LS saying Elise. This one I call E-Spirit, but I think it's a spirit. A spirit. It's French. It means mind. So it's not E-Spirit, how I say it. That's incorrect.
Oh, is it Esprit?
Esprit. Maybe that's it. Esprit. There you go. So this model, you know, I've been in two colorways. And again, Arthur Ashe to me, I mean, you know, when you think of grand champions, I mean, incredible. One of the reasons I got into tennis, or my fondness with tennis, was really Arthur Ashe.
Yeah.
Because even when you think of what he did on the court and off the court, I mean, he's pretty amazing. But
that's crazy, that shoe.
Yeah, but you think, I tell people all the time when I say representation matters, because you think how long Arthur Ashe played before a signature shoe. I mean, this was a French brand. He and Yannick Noah, both Lecoq Sportive, did signature shoes for them. It's only past tense or post his play that Adidas and Fat Farm may have did a shoe, and others have done shoes for him. So think of how great he was, and think why he didn't have a signature shoe from these companies. Why did it take a French company to come out and give him a signature shoe? And again, it goes to representation. It matters in that. Like during the 80s, a lot of times, and a lot of stories you probably follow, that they thought the whole drive behind the tennis thing were yuppies and people in Manhattan. They really didn't know the inner city was buying at the rate they were buying.
Clothes.
Yeah, and that's for Fila, Sergio Ticini, LS. You know, all of that was really driven. A lot of that market was driven by inner city youth. And the beauty in that, and the gift and the curse, let me say, that a lot of companies try to go back to that, but you know, those designs weren't made for the street. The crossover came, the street came to the brand because we saw something different, something fresh, a chance to be unique. So now when companies try to re-enter, you're re-entering a market space that was never your market space. You know, you can't say, oh, this is very street, because nobody brought it for that purpose. We brought it because it was different, And a lot of times the price point too, because the price point was going to bring uniqueness. You know, my first Fila sweatsuit, 85, I think, was $325.
Yeah.
A lot of people weren't going to pay $325. I knew on the
Yeah.
block there would only be one or two cats with a Fila sweatsuit, you know, versus me coming up. So I think where companies have missed the mark, they continue to try to go back and say the streets, but
Yeah, but it wasn't. Yeah.
it's not the streets. The streets crossed over
Well, that's
because
like it's like in Europe in the 80s with the hooligan culture, and hooligans
right.
started wearing tennis clothes and stuff, so the cops wouldn't
That's right.
think, oh no, it can't be them. They're dressed too well to be a,
Right.
and that's where it came from, you know. And then
That's
that's how they
exactly
made
right.
it famous in their culture, like, you know. But it started from to get away from. So if the cops see dudes wearing tennis shoes and nice clothes and jumpers and stuff, well, I know they it's not them, you know what I mean. But then
Yeah,
yeah,
that's true. So a couple more I have that are I think are pretty good. This one everybody knows. You probably played in this. Aesthetically, it's not everybody's favorite, right? It's the Wilson Pro Staff. But this
that
is a
looks
mid
awesome.
level. So this isn't, you know, aesthetically, a lot of people may not take to the shoe, but the shoe was important just for those who wanted to play. He said he had 50 tracksuits back in the day. Yeah, we all stayed in tracksuits, right? Which amazes me now because you go back and I look at pictures. I'm in full velour tracksuits and it's 95 degrees. Like now, if I have a t-shirt and shorts and it's 70 degrees, I'm hot. I don't know how I
Yeah.
stayed so cool as a youth in full velour sweatsuits zipped up. So the Pro Staff is one I love in terms of play. Just for performance, it's one that a lot of people, if you probably tried your hand at tennis or your parents tried you to play
Yeah,
tennis,
that one.
you had a Pro Staff shoe.
Yeah.
What's fascinating about the Wilson, I think, that a lot of people may not be familiar with, and I am a Pete Sampras fan, right? If you go and look sometime, even if you Google on the internet, Pete Sampras was notorious, because Wilson had this shoe and they had one called the 5000. He used to doctor that shoe to make it look like Sergio Tacchini or a Nike shoe. That wasn't his signature shoe. They used to fine him money, but if you go look, you'll always see a little W and he's put a swoosh or he's put an ST to try to fool people. Nike finally, for his signature shoe, the last one, they had to just copy the Wilson
Yeah.
5000 because he wouldn't wear anything else because of the pressure points. He wanted the pressure points. I don't know if
Yeah.
Jimmy Connor's wearing the Pro Staff, Peter. He may have. I'm not sure. I know he was in Converse a lot of his career, so I'm not sure with the Pro Staff. But I know there are actually photos out there. If you go look at Sampras, he used to do it crudely. You know, here's a guy who made
I
money.
never noticed that.
Yeah, you would think he would have his staff the night before or something, just doctor recreate, like people customize and make the shoe. That Joker would sit sometime on you, you know, there's even been talk, you would see him on the sideline just drawing, coloring crudely to make it look like a Nike, even though, you know, Sergio, that's why eventually when he moved away from Sergio Tacchini, they used to fine him a lot of money, Nike too, because he would.
I like his Sergio shoe though.
Yeah, I love the Sergio shoe, but for the pressure points up here, he used to have to cut razor blades. The pressure points were no good, at least in his case.
Yeah.
So, but I think that's funny when you think about it. There
I
are
know,
a
it's
couple of
hilarious.
pictures if you look, especially if you try to find the tongue. It's a Wilson he's in. It's not the Pro Staff. He's in. I think it's the Wilson 5000, but he's in that. But you'll see, it looks
Crazy.
like somebody took a marker and just did the swoosh or the ST. But he's not in that shoe. He always wanted maybe, and sometimes tennis players are superstitious, so sometimes maybe he just got comfortable with that shoe. But the last shoe, the signature shoe Nike made for him, they literally just copied. They just really took that Wilson shoe, made it exactly the same aesthetically, and then it became his Nike shoe. And
how much was that one worth?
The Wilson, they were inexpensive. That's why a lot of people loved them. I think the mid may have been 49, maybe the low were 39. They weren't an expensive shoe, but that's usually, again, if you played, because back then, you know, outside was what we did. Everybody was outside. And so whatever you played or sport you dabbled in, if you got those shoes were kind of your starter. I think the Wilson probably started a lot of people in terms of that shoe. But I still like it to this day. But aesthetically, I don't really wear that as far as a lifestyle shoe. You know, it doesn't work.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but I do like the shoe. How do you feel about the Night Court Airtown? Eh, you know, that one I'm not a huge fan of. Strangely enough, you know, some Nike offerings I like. That one I was never a big fan of. Although I mean, it's a nice shoe, the AirTech. The series is pretty nice, but I never was fond of that shoe per se from Nike. I like some of the other offerings, but usually with the tennis offerings, the Euro brands probably were more my
Yeah.
favorite in terms of that. Like a lot of the Euro. So Euro brand is another. This one I love. So Becker is one of my all-time favorites as well.
Yes.
This is the U.S. Open too,
Mad.
and this is second in the series. Well, he had a couple under the Adore, but this one I loved. So I think this is
Colors are great.
maybe 91, 92. Boris Becker is one of the few players, no matter who sponsored him, he had some of the best designs. Like his time with his time with Lotto, his time with with Theodore. He had a lot of the best designs. So I don't know if that was one team and it carried over, or that was different people. You know, a lot of times too, a lot of brands don't do. I always love signatures. So I'm a sucker for signature on the shoe.
On the shoe, yeah.
Signature, yeah. I always look for that. But Becker really had, from apparel to footwear, I thought he had some of the best in terms of that, you know, as far as the shoes go. So this one is
100%.
certainly a favorite. That's the Open 2. So he had one before that. I don't think I have it out, but, you know, Becker certainly had some good shoes and a good run. I mean, you know, when you think about it, even with LS, like when he got his Wilmington title, 85, I think. So King of Trainers, the guy who his collaboration is now full collaboration
About
with
Becker,
LS.
yeah.
Yeah, and he's a huge fan in 85. So I know 85 for sure because this shoe is decade. And he talks about 85 and 95. Becker lost in 95. At 85, he was victorious. I think he might have been Puma for the footwear, but he was LS for the apparel. His Puma footwear is nice too, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
Puma makes some good footwear. Matter of fact, I think I have. That's right, I do. So this is the Davis Cup. The Davis Cup is kind of like, sort of like the Olympics with teams.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a lot. It's a team sport.
That's grouse.
Yeah, and this was the Davis Cup offering. I think they won it this year, if I'm not mistaken. So this is from Puma. I always like the brighter colorways in terms of some of the summer shoe. And this one is pretty neat.
That's cool.
It's got the little gel at the bottom.
Yeah.
In places. So I think this is 90. I want to say 91, maybe.
Cool.
Not sure. But this
it looks very 90s.
Yeah. So yeah, early 90s. Everybody was kind of moving for that colorway. Agassi kind of pushed the market in terms of not just Agassi but Pat Cash. His stuff with Sergio, Agassi stuff was kind of, Jim Carrier. They were kind of pushing to a more colorful space in terms of apparel and in terms of sneakers. So, everybody. There was so many top players like the 80s. I think I love the 80s because not just the rivalries, but think of how many top players that you could identify with. Where now, last 10 years, there's been 2 or 3 guys, right? Just guys who win.
So, I always liked. I watched the other week. I watched 80. I think it was 87 or something. Oh, I can't remember. 80-something. Pat Cash versus Stefan Edberg at Kooyong for the Australian Open, and just like the difference in, like obviously Cash was decked out in the Sergio and stuff, but like the difference in the players. Like Stefan Edberg was so neat, and he had the belt on his shorts, and he always wore the gold watch when he played. Right. You know what I mean? Then Pat Cash had his hair out, like it was just funny watching it. You know what I mean? But then both players, just like seeing him, just like. Kick ass, you know what I mean, in different ways. You know, it was grouse to rewatch
Actually,
old
Pat
stuff.
Cash is the one with the new young line. Pat Cash was kind of the recipient of that because McEnroe had kind of started packing up his tent and he was going to move over to Nike full time. So, there are 2 young lines. So let me kind of explain that. There's young line, and that's McEnroe, but that apparel never really retailed. That was like 1981, 82, 83, maybe 84. He wore but it never really went to retail. So you'll see some of Mac and Roll in the striped shirts and such. Then Pat Cash started wearing, it's called a new young line. So this shoe, I'll show it again, so it's not confusing. But this is, even though it's a new shoe, it's called the new young line because there were two young lines.
Young lines, okay.
Tashini. Mac and Roll is really the one who wore the young line. The new young line was going to be some of the younger players, the newer players, and that was Pat Cash and some others. So before Pat Cash got his signature shoe, which I didn't pull out, but I could pull out. It's right in my closet. So maybe I'll get that one because Pat Cash had 2 or 3 that were
some killers. Yeah,
in terms of signature shoes. Although I wasn't a huge Pat Cash fan, I did like some of his apparel, but I can't say I'm a true fan of his game. But he had some good apparel, so that's that one. What else do I have? This one is kind of a unique one. Not so much aesthetically, but this is Ivan Lendl before he moved over.
Oh, yeah.
Actually got the Adidas, but this is his first competition. This is Ivan Lendl. This is the first competition. Adidas probably made the one that most are familiar with. And this is Supra. I know they're the Italian company. So, but an odd thing about this one, like a couple of years ago, the guy contacted me. And he says, oh, you know, they wanted to do a model of the shoe. Supra did. Yeah. And I told him, I said, don't do this one. I said, he won in New York. They used to do a grand championship, a grand tournament. In 81, he won the last one in New York, matter of fact. Lendl won. And that shoe looked more like the Bally competition. If you ever see it, you can Google it. Just Google 81 grand champion Lendl. But that shoe looked more like Bally's competition, with Bally remade a couple years ago. Trash shoe.
Yeah.
Okay, trash material. But I told him then, I said, you know, don't do this shoe. But a lot of times, that's the gift and curse with social media, right? What they found, because this has been around a long time. Let's say before IG, we were on Crooked Tongues, shoegame.com, Soul Collectors. There always been a sharing of vintage apparel, vintage shoes that, you know, people like. But then it got to be a business, and so that was the gift and the curse. People would come in, and a picture sometimes is worth 1,000 words, but without a story, doesn't mean that that's going to sell. And those guys just happen to, you know, they're lurking around, so they see a shoe, they see people kind of like the shoe, and instead of just talking to you or bringing someone in, their goal now is to keep all for themselves, right? They're not going to bring you in. They just want to get the shoe. Back in the day, before they even paid you, they would just say something like, oh, well, can I see the shoe? My grandfather wore the shoe or something, so they can get it in their hands and model it. They did that, I think, 1 or 2 times. I had Brooks Company. That's why Brooks Heritage, I'm so glad you failed. But I had a cat from Brooks. He was like, oh, my great-grandfather's company. Then this joker tries to bring the shoe back out. So I was so elated that it just tanked because, you know, this is a jerk move to try to do, you know, bring the shoe back out in that fashion. And then I'd start understanding this is more business than it used to be. Because more friends, more people, you know, you were just trying to one-up each other. You were showing this shoe, that shoe, having
flexing.
Yeah, just back and forth. And IG is more the business now. When people contact you or get out there, they're looking to get something and run it back up the flagpole with a company and then try to bring that product out. And I think a lot of them fail because a lot of license holders now, right? This isn't the brands we grew up with. Because when you think of a lot of these companies, not just Nike, Tinker comes to mind, but a lot of these companies had designers, sneaker designers.
Yeah.
You know, design shoes. But now it's just like, let's just grab this, remake this model, or let's make a collaboration. And, you know, that's not always going to work for a lot of people. You know, you bring that back sometime, even anything from the 80s. Like, I'm a professor by trade, right? My students are, say, 30 and younger. Usually younger, 21, 22, 23. They are not interested in the 80s in large part. They're just not. You know, so if you just drop and bring back something from the 80s, you know, what's that to them? So, you know, when I talk to these brands, I always tell them your target market isn't the young and sexy anymore. It's probably the older, you and I, or fondness or affinity. That doesn't mean that young people can't gravitate to the shoe. but it's got to probably start with your pure community. People who
Yes.
just like to like it. So when a lot of these brands come back champion and Kappa and they try to do the big C and the big Kappa, I wait for the crash. That's not your foundation. So they're just there when it's hot, and then they're going to move. A lot of these companies, you know, your foundation has been here for years. If Fila did anything with Borg, I'm likely to get it. You know.
Yeah.
Later, I'm likely to get that product because I'm a fan of Borg and I'm still a fan of Fila. But when you do Mountain Tech and you bring that Mountain Tech back and it's paper thin and you have these real frail looking guys on the mountain and they're 19, I'm not interested. I'm just not interested. It's hilarious to me. You know, and what happens again, people are only there for your next big thing. Luckily,
that's right.
The distributor sales, because they can sell that big clunky shoe. They don't care about their heritage is not important.
The Disruptor. I gave my pair away.
Right. That's going to sell beyond. That just sells and sells and sells. So they don't care to go back and find that community base. A good example of community base, and that I was talking to one brand about, and I was trying to show them. If you look in the case of Polo, let's look at Ralph Lauren. They eventually had to embrace somewhat that movement, even though that first movement, we all know them cats used to get, they probably hit them for millions. You know, they weren't fans of any low movement because those guys, their whole game was to come up and take apparel for free.
Exactly.
Oh, I'm sure Ralph probably stewed on the pot for years thinking, I hate these dudes. But then once you look, and looked how the world emulated their style. Like I've traveled the world, and there are low movements in France, Japan. So eventually they said, you know what? What if we somewhat embrace this? Now we're going to bring back our retro in '92, just what those guys are doing. '93.
There's a big low movement here,
and people emulated that in large part. So with the tennis brands, I don't get why they don't reach more back to the community. It's always been your base, but they try to say, hey, we're going to make this with a big symbol, or we're going to do this with Palace or collaboration with Urban Outfitters. I'm out. When you do that, I'm already out.
Some of the photos are hilarious,
I'm not
man.
even to the mall. So if you do any collaboration that's mall orientated, I'm out. You know, I'll just wait on something else. And so that's part of the unfortunate part. They continue to try the same market cycle. We're going to try to do this. It's the same thing. So I don't know. But this one I love. This is one of my favorites from the 80s. And this was the Vincenza. And Mike Packer, he got the OG model from me, and he remade his, and he called his, I think it's Vincencia. But Mike Packer, again, you know, shout out, because I think he's one of the rare cats who he gets very close to the OG. When he remakes, he gets very close. You know, I've spoken with him. I don't know how people feel about him as a whole, but I think he's a cool dude when I talk with him. But yeah, he's one that gets pretty close. So his remake to this shoe is very spot on. And the same thing with the Maverick he got to do. And I know he's done, Pizzazz. So
big grill.
Yeah, so but this is the original one. The original one was called, I think, Venice or Vincenza, but it's 1981, and this was big because they were putting mesh. See, with the mixture of materials, suede and mesh. So where LS got ahead of a lot of people, especially during that time, they came with heavier materials that maybe could take you past summer, like the Runner, the Marathon, which was one of the first runners in 1984. It was heavier, so that became one of the, you know, along with New Balance, the Blue Steel. 1985 became like lifestyle shoes, because before then we called them track shoes. And if you were wearing track shoes past September up north, people kind of looked at you odd. You know, normally the colorways were white or they were very light material, but they started making heavier material, gray and darker colors. And then New Balance, of course, was still doing the darker colors, heavy material. And a lot of cats, that became their footwear. You know, the funny thing with the New Balance, I remember with the Blue Steel, 1985, that shoe was maybe $130. I got it at a running store. And I remember the amazement of the staff, because they kept saying, well, what team do you run for? You know, school. I said, I don't run. And they were like, they couldn't believe, why would I want a shoe? Why would I spend that type of money on a shoe and I'm not gonna run. Like you again, there's no lifestyle category yet, right? So it just seemed bizarre that I would want a running performance shoe, high-end shoe, and I'm in a running.
Oop.
Like you had the mall, and then you had Herman's, you had franchise stores, big box stores, but you had specialty shops like mom and pop shops that were just solely for tennis, solely for running. So we used to find so many different pairs because we would frequent a lot of these shops. And then even when you were younger, if you had the ability to travel, like although my accent belies me, I'm from D.C. From Southeast Washington, D.C. is where I grew up. I moved to New York later in life, and I lived in Italy a lot of years. So I used to just shop and try to sneaker hunt, find different pairs. And so that was one of my favorites. Another one that I think is pretty cool. This one is the first Nike one I played in. This is the Kill Shot. This is the original. This is 1981. So this is the Kill Shot as a tennis shoe. This is like, again, the first I played in from Nike that I thought was pretty cool. I always loved that blue when they did that blue. Some of the Vandals have that blue look, but I always loved the mid cut. Any tennis shoe, not just for the ankle support, but aesthetically, any tennis shoe that comes up to a mid cut, instantly a fan of. So I know they remade the Kill Shot, I think, a few years ago, right? If I'm not mistaken, maybe 2 years ago they made a retro.
I don't know.
Yeah, so I don't know what the retro is. Maybe somebody can tell me. I think they retroed the Kill Shot, but this is a tennis shoe. But even when you see the bottoms, you see how round the bottoms were back then, and that's why I said the tanker was different. So the tanker was a little different. Wait, hold on. I got to show you the tanker. All right, it's right over here. Talk to the.
Okay.
I'll be right back.
All right. Wait, while he's doing that, I gotta show something. I got this off a dude on Facebook. It's a bit small. My partner wears it. It's a Sergio jacket from back in the days. Got it for $30 off him. As you can see, and it's a funny story when he goes, oh, there's a stain on it from a flare. And I said, flare? I go, you go to the football. Here's a Sergio jacket I picked up the other day.
Look at that. Okay.
Yeah. It doesn't fit though, so I gave it to my partner, but it's funny because the young dude, he said, oh, sorry. He goes, I seen your photo of the stain. It's just a little stain. And he goes, oh, it's from a flare. And I go, a flare? And I was like, hold on. I go, do you go to the football, And he goes, oh, I used to, I go, oh, yeah. And he goes, and he barracks for the opposite team, and in Melbourne. And I was like, oh, yeah, okay. And then I thought, I'll just throw this out. I go, oh, have you ever heard of a song called Casual Fridays? And just to see what he'd say. And he wrote back, oh, yeah. He goes, we used to pump it every match day, He goes, I've played that on YouTube 500 times myself, And I started laughing. I go, that's me, man. I go, I'm the dude. And he goes, fuck. He goes, I'll sell it to you for 25 instead of 30. It was funny how we just met like that. Yeah, that was pretty cool,
Really cool. So this is the Sadler. Now, this is the original tanker, right? The one actually, the shoe I got to make was off this. But see the bottoms? Yeah. It was one of the first with a cross-functional bottom. So this one is 1982. And it's so funny because even when you look, like LS is posting this now, and you have people say, oh, that looks like the Reebok Phase or Adidas. Sadler was first. I mean, Sadler probably, to me, Mark Sadler is probably a genius in terms of shoes. A genius. Here's a guy who not only designed, he came in for a little while. He broke his ankle, right, skiing. And then he decided he wanted to make a boot for a shoe.
My daughter wants to say hello to you.
Ah, okay.
This is my daughter, Annie.
Hey, hello.
Can you ask Mum what time we have to... Do we have to go soon, doll? Okay.
What do you got? You want me to wrap up? I have a couple more.
No, not yet. Yeah, I got to see. No, it's all good.
Yeah, I'm in terms of the remake, they didn't do the mesh,
Okay.
right? The nylon I thought was essential, sadly, because he did a couple different pieces, but I just thought,
amazing.
you know, the guy was a mad genius. Then he went on to do like orthopedic legs. He did.
You were saying, yeah.
Left. You know what? I haven't seen that guy in a long time. Nobody beats the Niz in a long time. I mean, I haven't seen him timeline wise in a long time.
Yeah.
I'm familiar with.
Shouts to everyone that started following me since I put up the ad, and tell you they must be your friends on IG, and I've got a couple of other dudes that want to be on my show from the States as well. You know the Fur King design.
Yep, Fur King. I know.
Yeah. So
You know
first
what?
I'm gonna do his son first, then him.
You have to do him. I'm not even gonna tell his story, but shout out to Fur King. His story is incredible. His story is one of movies, because I wanted to know, like, you never really see cats, inner city cats, who do furs. I'm not even gonna spoil it, but let him tell I'm gonna be on for that one. Let me know when that one. To hear his story is gonna blow you back. His story is pretty amazing for me.
Man, he got
the nylon though, in terms of for the tanker, because that really, to me, made the shoe. Some of the people in the design council, like Sneaker Queen, hers is nylon. She got to do a remake, and so hers is nylon. So this one I'm bringing out is just as a novelty, but I see this.
Oh, my partner's on bugging with a biro. Hi, Deb. That's my partner, actually.
All right. So this one now is so funny because everybody's doing this. Remember the Lotto? These are Lotto.
Yes, they're doing it with Air Force Ones.
Lotto logos. So where you put the sticker to it. Now I see, what's the cat who does the corduroy? He's like the one trick pony cat for runners. He's got the Aces now with the Aces now. He has stickers too. I don't know.
I seen they did it with Jordans and Air Force Ones. I think
I just seen it with Aces where they're doing that, but this was the Lotto, and
that was the first.
Right, 1987, the Lotto logo. So they used to give you the bag. Now this was novelty. Let me say, for me, I didn't really wear Lottos coming up. We didn't do a lot of Lottos because they were Lottos, I guess. Yeah, that's the cat.
In my area, people wore them a lot.
Yeah, we didn't do a lot. Like a lot of, I think, especially with Kappa and Lottos, a lot of schools, the cheerleaders start wearing them. So we didn't really get into Lottos that way, even though Lottos had some designs that I like. And I absolutely like some of the stuff they've remade now, because Lotto has done some remix to things that I like. But in that time frame, I brought those just as novelty. Like I wasn't like changing outfits. Some people did, and that was cool. But for me personally, I wasn't changing my outfit to match the shoe. The thing that would have been a little too much for me. Lotto fuck my feet up something shocking. Really? Did you?
Shouts to he's cool, man. He's a good dude.
All right. All right. Couple more.
That's the D1.
This one is one that a cat helped me land these. This is the Intruder. This is a Diodora.
Sick.
A guy on IG actually helped me get this because I hadn't saw this before. I just was kind of caught by the chevron and the strap, the high strap.
It's amazing.
The tennis shoe, obviously, but I thought because it didn't have the traditional, Diodora logo.
Yeah.
I do have some Patricks. I have one pair of Patricks. I don't have a lot, but I do have one pair. But I thought this was a nice mesh of material too, because this is like a nylon. Sick. Then you have the leather, and it's a mid cut. So again, I haven't seen this one around a lot. I like the bottom as well.
Yeah, that's mad.
Did they do one of you look on IG called the Tanker OG? They did. I showed it. I'll show it again. Because I have something coming with LS. We did a design council. So the design council, they got 8 of us to design a shoe. And then from that, I think two they want to do full collaborations. And King of Trainer, shout out to Franklin, is one. And this is the one we got to do against the original. Like this is the original. This was the original. And this was the one my partner and I did.
Yeah. I love the tennis net on the tongue. How you were saying on the retro forum.
Like the tongue, there's net, if you can see it, like a tennis net.
Mm.
Then on the back, I'm all over the place with this. All right. Adidas, I like the rivalry versus instead of the top 10, Chris, for me. Yeah, the
Yeah.
green one, you know, that's the one I got the design for the design council. So that's one we're having conversation to be a fuller collaboration release. Actually, I spoke this week to them, and I'll talk again next week. So hopefully that gets.
So they're gonna do a whole line.
I think so. I'm hoping they should, right?
Yeah. That would be great. Of course they should.
This one I like too. This one is 88.
Yeah, I love Reebok, man.
Yeah, this one I like. Maybe it's RTK. I can't remember which one this is. Somebody can tell me. I think this is RTK.
That's sick.
This one I like. This is 88. But funny thing, I like a lot of Reeboks, but then, you know, sometimes I don't wear a lot. Like I like a lot of the Reebok basketball, but because I hate Boston Celtics, I don't.
That's actually my partner's favorite team.
Boston Celtics? Oh, I hate those.
Yeah, she's got Irish, but she's Irish descent, you know. So.
Well, I don't like the Boston Celtics. So a lot of the basketball shoes that I like, that I purchased, I will not wear. Just like I think the strangest thing people probably would imagine. Now I have probably 700 pair of shoes here in the house. There's a ton of shoes in my garage. My garage is all sneakers. People who visited me know my guest room is all sneakers. My closets are all sneakers. There's just like even here, if I were to show you my office is all sneakers.
Yeah.
Sneakers really, I have no room in my house due to sneakers, right? I'm out of room. So with that said, I have 4 pair of original Jordans. You know how many times you've seen me in Jordans in life? Never.
Nah, I've never seen you. I didn't even know you had Jordans.
I had the 1s, 2s, the 3s, and the 4s. I brought them. I attempted to wear them once, and then I just felt uneasy. I felt like maybe Patrick Ewing would not be happy if I put those on. I like the 2s, though. The 2s were my all-time.
I love the 2s, yeah.
Yeah, but I would never wear them. Which Reebok Phase 1s come out again? The Phase 1s I did like. That was probably one of my favorites. That's
my good friend Leon. We went to school together.
Okay, then he's right. He's got it. The Phase 1 were pretty tight. And the BB 4600s. So those, I think, were probably the basketball 4600s. But, yeah, with the Jordans, when I wear them, I'm just always uncomfortable. So I don't wear them. But Michael Jordan is the greatest I've seen. Let me say that. But
I love him. Yeah. My favorites are the 5s. I love the LS basketball boots you have.
The Maurice Chicks?
Right? Yeah, they're hectic. I think so. Yeah, the ones I actually posted a photo of. You know how you got the high tops?
Oh, that's. Let me grab those. Hang on.
Okay.
It's a short trip.
While he's grabbing those, talking about basketball, I got these a while back. These are KD 5s. Nike Zoom KD 5s. That's like the shoe, man. It's like a low cut, but then this thing makes it a high top. But it's more, it looks, when you think of it, look at the sole. But yeah, I love this shoe. It's killer. But yeah, it does look, so if you take that away, it looks like a low cut shoe. But with that, obviously it goes back to high. I just love the accent there, the little KD there. This is my favorite one. Yeah. 80 Space Age. It does, though, actually, doesn't it? It does. These are more New York Knicks colors, actually, I would say. It's funny, before I got these, I'd never seen him before. And I thought, I have to see what it looks like before I wear his shoe. You know what I mean?
I think these are Sadler. This is more. So these are also Sadler, who did the tanker, because he was one. And this is, Maurice Chicks when he was with Philadelphia. I think he was the signature wearer for a year. So this is 83. Okay. I think Philly won the championship in 83. So this would be 83. And again, the thing then, sports were so regional. You didn't have 24/7 sports. So the distribution was regional. So you didn't get these in a lot of places. You got them on the East Coast. Some spots throughout, but you wouldn't get a lot of the stuff like you do now. If Kevin
Yeah.
Durant has a shoe, every state's going to get it in the U.S. You'll get it internationally.
I just showed it Kevin Durant.
There you go.
When you were going to get
See, I
those.
didn't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
So yeah, back then, if you had a shoe, it probably wasn't going to be in a lot of markets in terms of that. And then it was kind of harder because you didn't know when things were going to get released. Like right now, people know release dates, and you just had to kind of walk around and go into the stores and
To
kind
buy,
of
yeah.
a lot of cases and buy something there. Here's Pat Cash. These are
Yes.
yeah. So the silhouette I always love on the Pat Cash, right? So this was his first shoe. I think he ended up having 3. But the Sergio Tacchini stuff is tough. Tacchini. I say Tacchini,
Yeah.
and that's wrong. They corrected me to say Tacchini. Sergio Tacchini. Just like LS.
Well, it's like the Elise, man. I used to say Elise flat out until you said, nah, it's the initials of the guy who owns it, you know?
Right, but I still get in the habit of saying that. I like I was sharing with the guys at Retro Talk. I was doing a expo with them, and I heard myself all over the speaker when I said Elise. Till I had to write down LS, just a big one, and just put it in front of me. So you know, if you stream that or you look at that, you're gonna see me look down most times, just because I want to make sure I get LS. Because for 40 years, it's been Elise. Elise,
yeah. And I've always said, even my partner said, she goes, I'm still gonna call it Elise. She goes, you can't swap now. You know what I mean? Like.
Yeah, so even like I said, when they contacted me first and they were like, "Oh, come and speak on, about our history," I was thinking I didn't even know who you are. And they were like, you wear the stuff all the time, and I kept saying LS, Lecoq Sportive, and they were like, no. And then I looked, I said, oh, at least it's LS.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Here's a crazy pair. These I love. Adidas. This is my favorite color, but the high top Country High aesthetically looks a little different. The Country High was one of the first shoes, too, that was kind of a lifestyle runner, right? Yeah, there you go, David. It's the owner, Leonardo Severio. But he wanted his initials. So he wanted his initials, and he got them. And, I think LS is, they still have a heritage that hasn't been touched. Like a lot of these brands, that's They have vaults that haven't even been touched, but again, it's how they try to reintroduce that makes all the difference. You can't just bring something back. I think it's Italian, right? Is LS owner?
Yes, it's Italian.
Yeah, I think he's an Italian guy, if I'm not mistaken. And so you just can't bring things back because it's never going to be the 80s, right? You can try to move forward. You can't relive it, but some things you can bring back. But I think you have to do it with quality first. Like for a lot of those shoes, they weren't, even though Italian leather and premium leather, you hear that. Every shoe I've shown you, none was made in Italy. They're all Taiwan or Vietnam or China. There's not any pair that I've shown here. I have some that are made in Italy, but they always laugh when people say Italian leather. Like, are there different cows in Italy?
Oh, hold on. My partner Deb's brought these ones in.
Let me see.
She's got these. This is her.
Oh, that's tight right there.
And you get the matching shorts as well.
I like that. That's vintage.
In the tiger print. So the whole shorts is this.
I like that.
And then it's just yellow tracksuit pants.
And then the pants are just yellow with the LS. You know how it's got the patch on your arm, like just the writing?
Right.
Yeah,
that's
and then
pretty neat.
I
like
this one.
Back then. LS, yeah. I like.
It's like we were wearing it, like before they brought it back here and stuff, like we had it. We rocked it first. I don't care. But it's even been. I got interviewed for Vice magazine about football culture, and he goes, I heard you were the first one rocking it. Like I know dudes back in the days that used to wear it. And stuff, but we're yeah.
Well, like even when we first talked, because I was like Australia, so I think that's probably the most surprising and the most rewarding thing is how, no pun intended, but sneaker laces tie together the world.
Yes.
What social media has shown us that, before then, because we didn't have a.
Sorry, it cut us off. We got cut off. We'll go on, back on. Let's get it.
And oh, shouts to the Lone Shark. What's happening? Yes.
But that's cool. But that's great.
What up, Phil Wade? Thank you. Yeah. So I got, man. Let me, if you want to show something, I'll grab a jumper. One of my good friends, he found a LS jumper from the '80s. Like, this is from back in the days, and the only thing wrong with it is just like the blue line around the V-neck is faded a little bit. That's it. It's like mint. It's like someone had it like frozen in ice. You know what I mean? Like, I'll run and get it quickly. I'll run and get it. You love it.
All right. While he's running to get that, Michelle, I see, Simply Red. Dazzler, you connected with Adidas, right? I see you with a bunch of Adidas stuff. What's up, Tina? Hey.
All right.
What's up, Linwood? Oh, that's pretty neat too.
Yeah, see the lines?
I do. I have a couple. They're down in the garage though that are similar. That's pretty neat though. That's nice. That's
But
probably
yeah,
nice,
from back then, like it's like, man, I wish you could feel it. Like, it's just like, and you can tell just the material, and it's got those little accents there on the.
Okay, I got it. Yeah,
It's just matte tennis. It's just a sick tennis top, you know.
Right. The quality was truly amazing, and that's the hardest push right now. Was the LS big in Philly? I'm not really sure. Like in DC, I would say yeah, because I would say, when hip hop came in, like for us who were into doing tennis, it was probably 82, 83, 84, around 86, when the streets got flooded with money and all other type of different pharmacy products. Then a lot of people got into the Euro brand. And again, a lot of them purchased the Euro brands because you really wanted the uniqueness. If you spent that price point, a lot of people weren't going to be able to match. Like Fila, back then, again, like I'll restate, $325 for a sweatsuit, $100
in the '80s, man.
You had to come when you look back through the pictures. Trust me, if you see dudes fully decked out, I don't care what city, in Fila, fully decked out, in Sergio Tacchini, fully decked out in LS, then just label them official cats, because that's probably $500-600 of wear back at the time where you'd have to multiply that by 10 now in terms, that type of money.
Oh, for how much it was, back then.
Yeah, back then, you weren't. I mean, now it doesn't seem unusual to spend because people are spending $1,500 on Louis. I meant Avias. I meant Louis. So people spend that money now, but back then you really had to think on that purchase, So most times if you look back, you might see a cat will get a Fila t-shirt. He may have got the Fila slides, because they were cheaper. Just because the shoe would have broke them. $100 on the shoe would have broke them. So you see a lot of cats with Fila slides back then, and they may have the outfit, but they made a sacrifice. But dudes, to get the
so you get the slide,
If they're fully decked out in the entire ensemble, you're really looking at dudes who are official. Avia, right? I said
Avias. You got a few pairs.
Yeah. So the Avias are something. And what's funny, funny story with that I told, like with Avia, like I remember years ago, like we were still doing sneaker forums, right? So I'm on Yahoo. That's how long ago. I get an email from a cat, and he says, "Hey, trade me some Avias you have." I was posting Avias. I think this was Soul Collector. I want to say, the Soul Collector forum. And I said, well, I don't really trade sneakers. He said, well, I'll give you 2 pair of mine. And, and I think he wanted 8 pair of Avias. And I said, well, respectfully, I don't know who you are. He said, well, you can sell mine. And I said, again, I don't know who you are. He says, all right, well, go to eBay and just, type in my name. I type in Ronnie Fig. And I said, all right, where do you want these Avias to go? And so it was Ronnie, and I traded him some Avias, the 860s, the 880s, 870, I think. And so I traded him those for 2 pair sample pair. He gave me 2 sample pair of his, but it was, again, through Yahoo. But I thought funny, and I asked him at the time, and I never forget this, and I kept the email. I asked him at the time, I said, respectfully, I don't really know you as an athlete. I said, so why would your shoes cost so much? And he says, sometimes it's hype over quality. And I said, well, I don't quite understand that. He said, one day you might. Yeah, we're at that day now.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
We truly have arrived. I've arrived at that day now where I see that it's just driven things through the roof. But at that time, I just thought, I don't really get that. What do you mean by that? And so, as I watched him just blow up and explode, now I understand that. But I thought
Yeah,
so
yeah.
funny because and he was cool about it. He wasn't a jerk about it, but I honestly didn't know his name. I had not been really following the culture, if you want to call it that, or New York in terms of who that was. I was in Europe for a long time, and then I came back, but I remember him now. And then when I saw the Louis, I just thought, maybe I've seen that. But I know he reached out to a couple cats, so that Louis is certainly. Avia was one of the first who were really doing some fascinating things with the midsole and with the bottoms, and they still were doing good shoes. But if you had Avias back then, Avias weren't official. Like a lot of cats are like, oh, I had Avias. Well, that was probably an economic choice your mom made because Avias.
Yes.
But they were, inexpensive. So just like Atonics. Atonics I love with the Dream, but a lot of people who I don't know if they're familiar with the story, but Akeem, when he finished his first year in the NBA, he could have signed with anybody. Akeem was a monster on the court. He could have
Akeem Olajuwon?
Yeah, he could have signed with Nike or anyone. He signed with Atonic because kids were getting killed for Jordans. And he didn't want.
I've heard you say that, yeah.
$35 price point for his shoe. He didn't want an expensive shoe that kids would die for. And
what a legend, man.
Right. He signed with those guys for that purpose. And what hurt Atonics back then, Kmart picked it up. They weren't bad shoes. Atonics has always made the best runners, in my opinion. But, Kmart is Kmart. So, and kids can be brutal. And let me tell you, once I got out of Tom McCann and I started getting European brands, if you didn't have anything of similar quality, I was going to surely make you pay for wearing those. We were going to change them by lunchtime because we literally were going to, make you go home with those Atonics or the Kangaroos somebody just mentioned, or the British Knights. Those weren't welcome in terms of, our high school and kind of what we wore. But looking back, they're some of them are good shoes because they've lasted. Like I have Atonics here I have a runner from 1979 that I can still wear, and some basketball shoes that you can still wear. Yeah, but a Puma Sky, I love the Puma Sky. I wasn't a big fan of the Ralph Sampsons, and I know they brought that back out, but
they look all right though. The way they brought them out, though.
But I think that's one again where it's the gift and the curse. They watch cats on IG, they saw cats posting that, and here they come. Because Ralph Sampson wasn't really a shoe that people were really that gully for back then, but they saw, because think about it, like most times I'm contacted through these brands is through DM. Through IG, so they watch, even if they don't let you know they're watching, they watch. A lot of times people will try to set up their own deals with these companies by trying to get a shoe from you. Like the cats from New Balance and other places, they always come to me and try to get the shoe first, and I just wait a while to see who's looking for that shoe. Somebody must be looking if they want it, and usually it's the brand. So but shout out to New Balance because I think they're one who brings back a lot of quality when they do retro pieces. I like a lot of New Balance. Chronos, I still want the there's one pair I need. Drazen, right? That pair I want. I have a pair of Chronos, but they're not really the ones I want. I have a tennis pair, a trainer.
Yeah. My brother, I'm gonna have to wrap it up, man. Thank you so much.
I'm sleepy. That's fine. But look, I appreciate everybody who joined in, but I appreciate you having me, man. Honestly.
No, I thank you so much for being on the show, man. Just someone of your, you know what I mean, knowledge.
Stop that, man. Stop that shit. All right, stop that for me, please. Nah, but I appreciate you having me and doing that. So thank you. All right, we'll talk again.
Thank you so much.
All right, and that's coming your way once this thing lifts and they get the ship again. All right.
No worries, brother. Thank you so much for those.
Okay? All right, man.
Thank you, brother. Be well.
All right.
See you, mate. Shout outs to everyone. Thank you very much. Was it Chris? Yes. And shouts to everyone. Sorry if I didn't see people waving and shouting out. I was just full in zone into watching. What have I got left to show? Actually, I might not show. I'll wait till next week. or next episode to show. And thank you for everyone that watched. And yeah, I was a bit stuck. Yeah, but see, it's like don't even say that stuff. But yeah, no, it was awesome. My first international guest, and as people seen, it's just the knowledge that he has, and companies they contact him, especially when they want a retro shoes to borrow his original pairs and stuff. And yeah, to have him on the show is awesome. And like you said, yeah, once all this virus stuff stops, he's getting Sergio to send me a pair of young lines, which is I can't, like Sergio Tacchini's going to send them themselves to me, and that's always grateful to Carly Vegas for that. And yeah, have a great weekend, people. Stay safe, and just stay safe. Thank you very much. Laters.